Have you ever stopped to wonder why so many people seem to fade so quickly after 75? Why someone who seemed relatively healthy, who was still walking, talking, laughing, suddenly declines in just a matter of months, or even weeks? The truth is unsettling, but it needs to be said. Most people don't die because of one big event. They die because of slow, silent forces that creep in unnoticed until it's too late. And here's the real tragedy: most of these forces are preventable, manageable, even reversible if caught in time. But they go ignored, brushed aside as just aging, until they've done their quiet, irreversible work. You might think this doesn't apply to you. Maybe you still get around fine, still cook your meals, still enjoy the occasional walk in the garden. But let me ask you this: do you ever feel more tired than you used to, even after a full night's sleep? Do your legs feel weaker, your thoughts a bit slower, your appetite smaller? If so, you need to listen carefully. Because in this video, we're going to uncover the 5 reasons why most people over 75 pass away, and what those signs might already be whispering to you or someone you love. And I promise, once you see what's really happening beneath the surface, you'll never look at aging the same way again. So let's begin. Number 1. Silent muscle loss that steals your life. There's a quiet thief that starts visiting most people long before they notice it. It doesn't break in all at once, it creeps, gradually, day by day. It's called sarcopenia. And it's not just about getting weaker or losing strength. It's about your entire body slowly shutting down. By the time someone reaches 75, they've already lost about 25 to 30% of their muscle mass, even if they were active in their younger years. But here's the part no one tells you: this muscle isn't just for lifting or walking. It plays a vital role in regulating blood sugar, maintaining metabolism, supporting the immune system, and keeping your organs functioning. The moment you start losing significant muscle, everything else begins to fall apart. Suddenly, you're not hungry because your body doesn't demand fuel anymore. Your balance weakens, and with it, the risk of falls skyrockets. And those falls? They're not always recoverable. A fractured hip in your 70s is no small thing. For many, it becomes the beginning of the end. But it's not just about falls. Margaret, 77, had always been a busy woman, gardening, cooking, always on her feet. But when her morning walk started leaving her winded, she told herself it was just age. Then came the day she couldn't get out of a chair without help. Her legs had lost the strength, the muscle, and within months, she was in a wheelchair. The decline was swift after that: more sitting, less eating, weakened immunity, a case of pneumonia that would have been nothing years ago, but this time, she didn't recover. The problem wasn't just the infection. It was everything that had happened silently before that. Her body was no longer strong enough to fight. Muscle isn't vanity. It's survival. And once you lose too much of it, the rest follows quickly. Yet most people think, "Oh, I'm just getting older," and accept it. But strength is the one thing you must never surrender, because once you do, everything else falls. Number 2. The deadly decline of hydration. You may not feel thirsty. You may even think you're drinking enough. But after 75, your body loses its ability to sense dehydration. And the consequences of that are far more severe than most people realize. Your brain is 75% water. Your blood, your muscles, your joints, they all rely on proper hydration to function. Yet many older adults are walking around in a state of chronic dehydration, and they have no idea. They feel tired, but blame it on sleep. They get dizzy, but chalk it up to blood pressure. Their memory feels foggy, but they assume it's just age. Mild dehydration in someone over 75 can look like confusion, fatigue, irritability, constipation, kidney strain, even hallucinations. Severe dehydration? It can cause organ failure fast. Harold, 80, was living alone after his wife passed. His daughter noticed he'd stopped drinking water like he used to. He just didn't feel thirsty. He'd sip some tea in the morning, maybe a little juice at lunch, but not nearly enough. Then one weekend, she found him confused, weak, slurring his words. She thought he was having a stroke. At the hospital, they told her he was dangerously dehydrated. His kidneys were failing, and his sodium levels were so high they couldn't stabilize him. He never recovered. That's how fast it happens. You don't need days in the desert. Just a few days of not drinking enough, especially if you're already weak, on medications, or have any chronic conditions, and the dominoes begin to fall. And here's what no one tells you: as we age, our total body water decreases. Our kidneys don't concentrate urine as well. Medications like diuretics drain even more fluid. Add in a poor appetite, reduced mobility, or memory issues, and suddenly, you're dangerously close to collapse without even realizing it. Hydration isn't just about quenching thirst. It's about life itself. A steady intake, even if it's small sips throughout the day, can be the line between decline and stability. But so many skip it, thinking they're fine. Until they're not. Number 3, the subtle suffocation of slowed breathing. Most people assume that death begins with the heart. But often, it's the lungs that start the countdown first. After 75, lung capacity drops by up to 30%. That means every breath brings in less oxygen, and less oxygen means less energy, slower thinking, weaker muscles, and impaired healing. And unlike the heart, which gives clear signs when something is wrong, the lungs often stay silent until it's too late. You might notice a loved one breathing a little heavier after a walk. Or they start avoiding stairs, saying it tires them out. They begin to speak in shorter sentences. They rest more. None of it seems urgent. But over time, this slow suffocation builds up. Oxygen levels drop, fatigue worsens, the heart works harder to compensate. Eventually, that burden becomes too much, and the body gives out. And, 79, had mild emphysema from years of smoking in her youth. She stopped decades ago, lived an active life, but her lungs never fully recovered. Over the years, her breath shortened. She gave up gardening. Then walking. Then even standing for long periods. Her family thought it was normal aging. But what they didn't see was the slow decrease in oxygen, how her brain was becoming foggy, her heart strained, her immune system starved for air. A cold in the winter turned into pneumonia, and within days, she was gone. And here's the haunting truth: she might have made it, had her lungs been stronger. The lungs don't shout. They whisper. A yawn. A sigh. A skipped walk. And by the time you realize what's happening, the body's already compensating, pulling oxygen from reserves it no longer has. And for someone over 75, that strain can be the final blow. Breath is life. And when it begins to fade, even quietly, the body begins preparing for its end. Number 4, the quiet collapse of social disconnection. We talk about cholesterol, blood pressure, even diet, but we rarely talk about loneliness. And yet, for people over 75, it is one of the most powerful and deadly forces at work. Social isolation is more than just an emotional experience. It's physical, measurable, dangerous. Studies have shown that chronic loneliness is as harmful as smoking 15 cigarettes a day. It increases the risk of heart disease, cognitive decline, depression, weakened immunity, and even early death. What makes it worse is that it often happens invisibly. A spouse dies, the children get busy, mobility becomes harder. Slowly, the visits grow fewer, the phone calls shorter, the calendar emptier. And what's left is a quiet that doesn't soothe, it suffocates. For years, Charles, 82, lived in a bustling home. Holidays with grandkids, Sunday dinners, neighbors dropping by. But when his wife passed and his best friend moved to Florida, things began to shift. He told himself he enjoyed the peace. But that peace became silence. Then numbness. He stopped shaving. Forgot to eat some days. He watched television for hours without even realizing what he was watching. One day, his daughter came by unannounced and found him sitting in the dark, curtains drawn, a plate of untouched food beside him. That week, he was admitted to the hospital for malnutrition and untreated depression. He never recovered his strength. Here's the thing no one says aloud: we are not designed to live in isolation. The human body responds to love, to connection, to laughter and stories and touch. When those things fade, something deep inside the body begins to shut down, slowly, quietly, without protest. And yet, so many older adults slip into this state unnoticed. They smile when someone calls, say I'm fine when asked. But inside, their world has gone dim. And that dimming, that absence of warmth and presence, can shorten life in ways no medication can reverse. Being alone isn't always the danger. Feeling forgotten is. Number 5, the final blow, medical overload. Here's a truth most won't admit. Many people don't die from illness, they die from the treatment of illness. Especially after 75. The average senior is on 5 or more medications. Blood thinners, blood pressure pills, sleep aids, antacids, antidepressants, cholesterol medications, diuretics, the list goes on. But our bodies, especially after 75, are no longer equipped to process so many substances. The liver slows. The kidneys struggle. And the side effects, interactions, and complications often become more dangerous than the diseases themselves. Take Dorothy, 78. She had high blood pressure, mild arthritis, and trouble sleeping. Her doctors meant well, they prescribed her medication for each issue. But the sleeping pill made her groggy, leading to a fall. That fall resulted in a fracture, which meant painkillers. The painkillers caused constipation, leading to more medications. The cycle continued until she was on 9 different pills a day, and her body couldn't take it. Within months, her liver enzymes were elevated. Her blood pressure fluctuated wildly. Her appetite disappeared. She became confused, fatigued, barely able to get out of bed. None of it was from a single illness, it was the cascade of medications, each one chasing the symptoms of the last. Doctors don't always see the full picture. Specialists treat the symptom in front of them, not the whole person. And the result is polypharmacy, a silent epidemic that steals vitality, clarity, strength. Most medications were never tested on people over 75. The way an 80-year-old metabolizes a drug is not the same as someone who's 50. Yet the prescriptions continue, often without reevaluation. And when someone dies from natural causes, how often do we ask, was it truly nature? Or was it the accumulation of well-meaning interventions that the body could no longer bear? There comes a point where the body doesn't need more chemicals. It needs rest. It needs simplicity. It needs careful attention to what helps and what hurts. And for many after 75, that line is crossed too often. Final thoughts. So here we are, 5 reasons why most people don't make it far beyond 75. And it's not the dramatic emergencies we fear, not the heart attacks, the strokes, the sudden illnesses. No. It's the quiet, the slow, the barely noticed. The muscle that fades without protest. The water not drunk. The breath that shortens gradually. The room that grows too quiet. The bottle of pills that promises relief and brings decline. These forces don't announce themselves. They don't knock at the door. They live in the corners of daily life, in the skipped walk, the quiet afternoon, the unopened water bottle, the forgotten meal, the untouched dumbbell. And by the time they are noticed, they've already taken root. But here's the truth, not all of this is inevitable. Some of these patterns can be broken. Some of these declines can be slowed, or even reversed, when they are recognized early. When someone cares enough to ask. When someone notices the silence. When someone dares to say, this isn't just age. Something's changing. Maybe that someone is you. If you're over 75, or you love someone who is, take this as a wake-up call. Look closely. Listen more carefully. Ask harder questions. Push back when doctors prescribe too much. Encourage movement, however small. Offer water, warmth, conversation. Because sometimes, the smallest changes keep life going just a little longer and make that time richer, more comfortable, more human. Don't wait until it's too late. These 5 reasons are not fate. They're warnings, whispers. And now that you've heard them, you can't unhear them. Thank you for staying with me through this difficult but necessary conversation. If this video moved you or reminded you of someone, I invite you to share it. Because awareness is the first step toward change. Take care of yourself. Take care of those you love. And as always, thank you for being here with me today. Your time, your attention, your presence, they matter more than you know.